Hey there, this is Artsy Wisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. Today I'm going to be answering some viewers' questions, and most of them, or all of them, I think, have to do with global stuff, other countries. But I'll put the timestamps in the description box, so you'll be able to find it if it's something you're looking for. You might find it interesting. Anyway, as those of you who have been here before know that I sometimes see desserts and food and just images, and I try to decipher them as best I can. And sometimes they're symbolic, sometimes they're metaphors, sometimes they're literal. And I thank you for helping me do that sometimes. And today, and how I look at it is I'm experimenting, because why the hell not? So the more we experiment, the more we can see what works in all areas of life. And when I was an art teacher, I used to teach my students creative problem solving. I think you can use that in any part of your life and look at things as not a black and white issue, but sometimes little grays here and there to kind of figure it out. But yeah, so I've been noticing some changes in how I'm perceiving some things, and I'm going more into channeling mode. I've also had some meditations where I've spoken to my spirit guides, and I've gotten a lot more information there and some explanation about my job here. And I've said this before, I'm trying to bring lightness and an ease, positivity about maybe some dark situations or things that are happening in the world, and to maybe help you get through those. Because we all need that a little bit now and again. So let's get started. Okay, before I do, please like and subscribe, share, comment, all the YouTubey things. I appreciate it. It really helps with my algorithm. And as I said, my spirit guides were telling me things, and they said this is a marathon, not a sprint. Or they didn't use those words, but long story, long haul, something like that. So, but it makes it easier. So when I know that you guys enjoy something, I love it when you respond. So wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's start with, just as a quick revisit. I had mentioned, I was talking about Haiti, I think it was a couple videos ago, and Haiti is going through nightmare situations with gang violence all over the country, but mainly Port-au-Prince, where 80% of, I think, of the city is being controlled by the gangs. So I had went into my meditation, and I really saw that somebody with a heavy hand, like a military leader or somebody, would have to put the kibosh on the gangs. They may not immediately all go away, but they need to be handled. And I also said that I think there's going to be a combination of countries or cooperative country like the US, the UK, maybe, I don't know who else would be over there in the Caribbean somewhere, getting together to help support the country and the civilians there, because they don't deserve this, honestly. Now, I guess they voted a new prime minister, Gary Connell, I think it is. Gary Connell. Conneal? Maybe it's French. Connie? Maybe. Anyway. As soon as I saw his face, I didn't trust him. Sorry. I felt like he won't stay long. And he's not really a military leader. I think he was actually a physician, a gynecologist, and he worked before in the country like 10, 11, 12 years ago. But he was there only temporary as well for, trying to get a handle. But there was he was kind of forced out, I think, is what I read. But what I did see when I meditated on him was that I saw him slow. He's in no rush. I felt like the whole situation is slow. Like they voted him in. I I think there was a very short list of people. It wasn't very transparent. The council or the parliament, whatever it is, it's supposed to be a democratic situation, but it seems very corrupt. Sorry to say. There may be people that have good intentions, but I saw him, all these people were coming at him, asking him for, like a movie where people are all yelling at someone to do this, take this, they're all asking him either to help them with their situation or to understand the next steps for him. It was just a lot coming at him, but it didn't seem to make him hurry. It was just very calm. Maybe this just signifies that he is a calm person, but like I said, I'm sorry, I just didn't like his face. I feel like he isn't a good person, ultimately. Maybe he's a decent person, but I don't feel like this is the right answer, for the country, ultimately. Maybe for right now, just temporary, but I saw him... Oh yeah, I saw the bombardment. And then I saw the people, one of this people over here turned into a snake. And then the money's coming under the table. So I don't think they're shape-shifting. I think, people being sneaky, and the money's coming under the table. It may not be immediately, but there's all kinds of planning around something, but he's going to try and make it look like he's doing things, but I don't think he'll be there long. So poor people of Haiti. Okay. I also looked into Sweet Darling Lulu asked about the Mexican elections, the federal elections on June 2nd, which is like 3 or 4 days from now. And Claudia Sheinbaum, excuse me, she is the top candidate. And there is another female candidate, which I love. There's 2 women that are vying for this president. I think it's a prime president. It's not a prime. Yeah, no, it's a president. Immediately I saw her as fragile. Like I got into her body and I could see her bones. Like, not that she was a skeleton, but I just felt her very thin, very fragile, not beefy. And I know she's a woman, and maybe that signifies her being vulnerable. I don't know, but they're very interesting things I'm going to tell you now. So I looked at the election. I did get online to see anything else about the election, and the gangs have killed a lot of local politicians, mayors from a lot of cities, 20 killed this year. So I worried about her protection. I worried that she's going to be the next one. And I think she's going to win. I felt like she was going to win. I don't feel her being scared right now. I don't feel like, because I do think she's probably really protected. Maybe that's why she doesn't feel scared. And she would be the first Jewish person in that high of a position, which is awesome. A female and a Jewish person. But what I did see is, okay, she's in her position. She's the president. And then all of a sudden I see her, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Maybe I'll draw a picture where it's just one little lady finger at another, but they're made of metal, and they're kind of rusty metal too, but walls of metal, but they look like lady fingers, like you'd put in tiramisu, but they're pieces of metal. And because sometimes you can make a tiramisu cake or put lady fingers around the sides of cake. That's the kind of idea. But she's in the middle and she's turning her body and going bang, bang, bang. And she's literally sweeping these tiramisu or these lady fingers all around her. And she's going another level and another level. And she's protecting herself. I think part of that is security and protecting herself to vulnerable situations where somebody might assassinate her. But I also think it's her vetting, being super careful and only letting certain people into her administration or into the government that she trusts. that if it was very rusty, almost like an I know it's not a castle because castles are made of stone, but it gave me the feeling of that, like a metal, protection during war, kind of thing. But I felt like she was going to be very methodical. She's going to be very organized, very methodical, cautious, going to take her time to go through and vet all these people that are going to be coming into her administration. So I did feel like that was good. Yeah. So I think there's another woman vying against her. Oh gosh, Galvez, Galvyez. Sorry. Yeah, but I think Miss Sheinbaum is going to win. Yeah, and so the other thing I saw her is shoring up. She's going to focus on business too, because I think she sees that that's the support system for a better economy, and that ultimately will lead to people being less poor and having jobs, not going into gangs. There's a lot of corruption everywhere, but she's going to go at it from that angle. She's going to find people jobs some way, somehow. And I do feel like that's going to really make our relationship, United States with Mexico, that much better. I'm very hopeful in this moment. Like I said, free will, time, anything can flip in a switch or flip with a switch. Anyway, so that was good. Sweet darling Lulu. Now I looked into, sometimes I have to take my notes. I'm finding I have to just do the meditation, and the tarot cards keep me in my conscious mind too much. So, Fiona had asked about the Australian elections. They're not coming for another 12 months or something like that, not till the 2025. And she knew it was far away, but she wanted to know if the trend was going to continue to the progressives, the Green Party, more on the liberal end of things, if that's going to continue. Well, I found this very fascinating. Let me find my notes because I want to make sure I do this right. So in the past, I've always seen Australia as there's an old Civil War Southern Belle lady with a big dress that's kind of a cone shape over Australia. And then more recently there was polka dots, and I realized there were mines, and she's got her shawl and she's covered the entire country. And there's all these mine holes, so resources, gold mining or whatever the valuable resource is in Australia. And they're everywhere. And today I didn't feel like anything was decided when it came to the elections. I didn't feel ready to even make any predictions about the future there. I did think there's going to be a big change. It's still going to be the economy and the cost of living. This is what people will use to make their decision for voting. The cost of living. And I also saw that weather phenomenons, something may happen between now and the election that's going to also affect how people will vote next year. Some sort of, I know there was that huge wildfire a few years ago. It was climate change related, sort of like that. I don't know if it was flooding, but something. And people are nervous and they want that handled, or they want to do their part to work towards less carbon emissions or whatever that is, or cut out the oil industry, or go back to more natural means. So I do feel like if that occurs, they're going to make their decision, you will stay on that trend. There will be a lot of business people that'll be putting a lot of money into a nominee or a candidate that is pro-business, pro-industry, and they'll have a lot of money, and that's going to be a hard fight there. But lots of time. Things can change. But what I found very interesting was I found, and then I started thinking about this woman that I saw with the polka dotted shawl that turned into the mines. I felt this female energy rising up from the land in like a goddess energy, like it's been in hibernation for millenniums, multiple millenniums. And it's a female, like kind of like Mother Earth feeling. And I wondered about the Aboriginal people and if that energy of the land was so powerful. And for some reason, I feel like it's rising up and now getting ready to be seen. And so when I thought of that Southern Belle lady with her shawl, and I thought, well, maybe that's part of it. I'm not 100% sold on that. But it's like the goddess energy. You know, we've been a patriarchal society since ever. And I feel like, I know in general, the world is shifting to a more matriarchal, focused on the female qualities. It's not the right word. Female strength, power. And I feel like it's in the soil, this female, this goddess energy, that this goddess energy wants to rise up and be seen. And it's a super ancient feeling. It felt so ancient. And it felt really good, though. It felt like it was just under the surface. And like I said, I don't know. Native Americans look to the earth. You know, it's Mother Earth. I think it's Father Sky. Oh, different cultures, different traditions use different words. But it felt like maybe that's related to the resources, you know, strip mining and stripping the land. And maybe it's something like that. And it's almost like she's coming to return to her old self. Don't know if that has to do with phenomenon of some weather or earthquake or something, but it did feel good that it was happening. It's good for the world. That's the feeling I got. It was good for the world, good for Australians. And yeah, the energy felt really positive and pure. Well, so I think that was Fiona who asked that question about Australia. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, let's move on. Who asked? I forget who asked, so I'm sorry. Somebody asked if, you know, the ICC, the International Criminal Court, had looked, they were going to possibly issue warrants for war crimes to Netanyahu and to Hamas leaders. So whoever asked me that question, that's what I looked into. And what I saw was, well, I got into Netanyahu's energy. And immediately I felt like I'm breathing in kind of smoke. But the other thing I felt, and it's going to be weird, I don't know if anybody, when you were a kid, you might have, or maybe later, you ever taste ashes from a cigarette just because you want to, you know, try it. And it tastes like salty. It's like that. And maybe there's another type of ash that I'm thinking of, but it's ashes. And I felt him, when I was breathing in his energy, I felt like ashes, and I felt that taste in my mouth of that kind of salty, ashy feeling. Perhaps that's the death. That's the war and the space around him. I also, when I got into his energy, I sensed a very deep historical or ancient connection to ancient Israelis from the beginning of time. I felt he feels like he's channeling them or doing what he needs to do to continue the fight for his people. And I wasn't mad about that. I just felt like he feels very driven for that. I've said in the past, I think he's, you know, on this earth right now, I think he's corrupt and he would like to, you know, make everything go his way. But the other thing I saw from his perspective is he wants to go into the Gaza Strip and whatever's left, go into those tunnels and kind of like pimples and get them all out of there, squeeze everything out. And it's kind of gruesome, but he's trying to get to every little corner. Of course, as you know, if there's still, kidnapped people, they're going to try and find them. I don't think he meant to do that to the tent city thing and kill all those 40 some people. I don't think that was supposed to happen. I do think they're playing fast and loose with these bombs. So it's that's a collateral damage kind of thing. But I do think that wasn't the intention of that particular thing, to, the tents went on fire and killed all those people. It's horrible. But I wanted to check into on that too. Now, whoever asked, or mail, I'm not sure who asked me, but this person who asked me about this arrest warrant, will they finally give it to him and for war crimes? So I get into the energy of the ICC. Say I'm on this panel or this dais or whatever it is, and I hear in the background bells. Like in a tower. I hear like in a church, like an old church. And I'm thinking, is the ICC, is that court in an old church building somewhere, or And then it occurred to me, for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. And originally I thought it was Edgar Allan Poe. I think he has a book, The Bell Tolls, maybe. But this is actually an old poem. And if you don't want to listen to it, it's not that long, but I wanted to share it with you. It was written by John Donne. He's an English poet, and sort of started using the word metaphysical back. He was alive 1572 to 1631. So if you listen to this, it's very metaphysical in the sense that we're all one. And then take that into consideration when it comes to Netanyahu and this bell that the criminal court, I can hear in the background. So, okay. For Whom the Bell Tolls by John Donne. I think it's John Donne or Dunn. No man is an island, entire of itself. Each is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less. As well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thine own, or of thine friends were. Each man's death diminishes me, for I am involved in mankind. Therefore send not to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. So that is just a very elaborate Old English way of saying we're all one, we're all connected, we're all fractions of light. What affects somebody in one part of the world affects all of us. And if we remember that, it makes us, be more sympathetic, obviously, but be feeling that more connection. We're never alone. We're all part of the whole. I just love that. And so in regards to Mr. Netanyahu, I think what's happening, it could be two things. What's happening to him is affecting all of us, or what he's doing, obviously, is affecting all of us. But the bell may be tolling for him. Bells toll when there's a funeral. Or a wedding, or a celebration, but sometimes it's a funeral, and I think that's what Mr. Dunn is talking about. So I think there's an ending coming soon. I do feel like he may be getting sick, Netanyahu, before he'll ever go before any tribunal or criminal court, but he will be put forth as a war criminal at some point. Now, the Hamas leaders were also... they were going to submit warrants for their arrest too for this, and they will also go before the court as well, the Hamas leaders, whoever's left. Or if it's posthumously declared, I feel like it's 3 years before they do that. So to answer your question, the mysterious person who asked, maybe I'll put your name down here. But yeah, it's very fascinating about, again, with my experiments, listening, hearing, putting the pieces together. Thank you. Those of you who sat through that with me. All right. I think that was it. I am going to keep doing this, obviously, but I do have a commission that an art or a mural in the States in Arizona here next week. I have to leave, but I'm going to keep doing this. It may not look the same. Sound might be off, just kind of stuff, but it'll get less, I'll have less videos out because of just time. And I'm not getting younger and I get exhausted when I do those murals. But I'll keep you updated. I might send pictures or post them on my community page or a little video. I already did the library. It's in an elementary school, so it's not high-end stuff. But, it's fun. I enjoy that. But, okay. I think that's it. Continue to comment and send me questions. I love that all. All right. Take care.